Clay Henry, our friend, the editor and publisher of Hogs Illustrated. You can also read his columns at Whole Hog Sports. He's on the phones today. He's out and about around Baxter County. Clay, how's your day going?
It's doing well. How about you guys? I've been listening to y'all.
Doing good, man. Doing good. Trying to figure out. I have the taste for rice and beans and andouille sausage today. He told me to go to Popeyes, which is they make some good one. They make a good one. I'll say that. I'll give you that, Clay. You can always trust Popeyes for the rice and beans.
Well, that's easy in and out, and they've got a few Cajun dishes. I was covering the 1980 Sugar Bowl, Arkansas and Alabama. My wife was pregnant. We were there for 7 days. She had morning sickness, and she said, I cannot go in any place that the smell of seafood or she just like, oh, we're in New Orleans. And she goes, but there's a place right across the street there that you ought to try. I've heard. It was the original Popeyes on Canal Street. And went in there more than a few times that week. And I would get her something to go from someplace else. She just didn't. The lobby of the hotel had gumbo. It had gumbo constantly. Like you could walk through the lobby and get you a cup of gumbo. And she couldn't hardly even go through the lobby because of the fish smell or whatever. Anyway, that's my Popeyes revelation. And when I realized what Popeyes
all the reasons
was,
why it would be difficult to be pregnant, and I would never want to feel like the smell of gumbo is something I want to avoid.
No,
never.
Yeah.
All right, Clay, I want to ask you about this Arkansas defense because they've been lauded for good reasons this year, and obviously there's been such a turnaround in the way that they play with Barry Odom as the coordinator, and defense has won them a couple of games. Probably all three of their wins this year have been defensively oriented. But they've been on the field a lot. Teams have been able to generate lengthy drives. And, in the losses this year, Arkansas is outpossessed by 9 minutes, an average of 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, I know a lot of that goes on the offense and inability to prolong their drives, but I do think that the defense occasionally has had some problems getting off the field, certainly against the elite teams in the SEC.
Yeah, I think you're on to something, and Matt was also explaining the up-tempo offense. Sometimes they've scored in one-play drives. Like and you like the points, but you also like to rest your defense a little bit. But the big plays in the Florida game were great for points, but it didn't. Your defense is right back on the field, and they've done that on occasion. And it's the nature of the offense, and you have to bite the bullet and go on because that's what you are. That's the offense that you're going to play, and it catches the other team with some mismatches, personnel, and they go with it. When they like their matchups, they're gonna go tempo and not sub, and I guess that's good and bad. What you have to look at is in the games, and we played coming out of the break, played the Catalan interception with Corral. And what he did in that game is he stared down receivers. And that secondary was playing zone, and it was a feast. It was Thanksgiving with all the trimmings. And those guys made him pay for that. And there's been some other quarterbacks that have stared down receivers. I think for sure that the Mississippi State quarterback did that at times, where he put his eyes somewhere and you knew that's where he was going, and they reacted. And that's how they're coached, and they're really well coached. There's some experienced quarterbacks that have used that to his advantage. For instance, Kyle Trask definitely used his eyes to move players around in the secondary to open up receivers. And Grant Morgan spoke on that after the game, that he looked off the high safety a couple of times to open up things to make sure he had one-on-one on the other side of the field, and that he looked off linebackers in their drops to open up some things to give them a little more room where he wanted to throw. And that's what you get into with an experienced quarterback that can, I've heard coaches talk about changing their keys during the season because the good ones figure them out. But you can take advantage of the extreme discipline that a defense has because they're going to react a certain way to, an offensive guard pulling or this or that, and you can count on that. And so, anyway, that's kind of what's going on. But you're going to get a quarterback this week at LSU, whoever they play, that's not in that same mold. You're not getting Joe Burrow, who could do exactly that. That he could look a linebacker off or a safety off to open up one of his guys, and did it over and over, and was just so good with his discipline. Where you look one way and you see the safety move 10 yards, and all at once, boom, you immediately come back to that spot that he vacated.
Yeah, and you can see that there's a formula of what makes these offenses in the SEC that are elite, and an experienced quarterback who can go through the progression that is protected by a really good offensive line. Man, that's what you saw from Texas A&M. That's exactly what Florida is. That's exactly what Alabama is. But you're right, Clay. That's not LSU. I don't think that's Missouri either, right?
No, I mean I don't think Badalac, that's how you say it, is got those kind of things. I mean, he's a run first guy, and they're going to move people around with their motion and try to run quarterback counters, and they've got good running backs. Their passing game is anemic, but they play good defense, and they're going to try to keep it a low scoring game. This week is going to be interesting as it plays out. We've got COVID situation going on at Arkansas, and they've got some position groups that may get hit, and so we'll have to wait. They're not going to tell us, but I've heard this and that already this week and Tom Murphy had some information yesterday, and that's starting out the week. And as you test, when you have a few COVID cases within your team, and you test during the week, it doesn't usually go down; it goes up. Mm-hmm. Once you get it, and it is awfully hard to social distance it within a team concept to keep it under control. So let's watch carefully as this week progresses where Arkansas is, and of course we may not know until we start scanning the field in pregame, and we've done that every week, checking out. You go through the two deep and see where you're hit. And, they had a couple out in the offensive line last week that you worry about. And that was a position where the week before you thought, well, we got some depth. There's some guys rotating in, and then boom, two guys are out. So there went the depth. So yeah, it's nothing is simple this year, is it, guys?
Clay Henry here with us on Halftime. Clay, I think when you look at this LSU matchup, I mean, obviously LSU's nowhere near the team that they were last year. But before we got you on here, we were talking about this, and I think it's important that, and I don't think it's necessarily the players, but just the fans. We've got a lot of different texts in here, just like Arkansas is going to blow out LSU. And I don't know if it's necessarily a blow, but I do think Arkansas should take care of business if everything goes right. But for me, Clay, LSU still has that brand name, and you cannot overlook these LSU Tigers. Despite everything that's been happening this season, you can't overlook them this Saturday.
Yeah, and you never know what's going on within a team. It's like, are they still playing for that coach? They they're holding on to the rope. We've seen Arkansas do that by and large for a season, where you thought they were going out and they had some grit about them. And when you watched LSU, you didn't see that same grit this year like last year. There's something off with this team.
We got about 30 seconds, Clay.
Their talent is still impressive. They can beat you in a one-on-one situation. If they beat you enough, you're in trouble.
All I know is Arkansas shouldn't take anybody lightly, no matter who it is.
Bingo.
This year. Yeah. More Clay Henry coming up after the break here on Halftime as we'll close out this first hour on a beautiful Wednesday across the natural state. Got questions for Clay? Get them in. 877-377-6963. We are right back. And Clay Henry for another segment on Halftime as we take you up to the top of the hour. We'll have Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News do a little NBA draft stuff at 12 o'clock. We'll also crumple the box score. Clay, one thing that did stand out offensively for Arkansas against Florida, the big play returns. This is an offense that's got big play capabilities, and you saw that with Traylon Smith breaking through the middle. Mike Woods had the two big plays. He's still waiting for Rakeem Boyd to break one of those because he'd done that each of the last 2 years. But where it's nice to see the big play, those are always nice. One thing that you didn't see against Florida, and has been an issue for Arkansas at times this year, and this goes a little bit into the conversation we had in the last segment about time of possession, sustainable drives. Where Florida had, and again, it's almost comparing apples and oranges with the Gators offense to the Arkansas offense. The Gators had like 7 drives of 4 minutes or more. Arkansas had none. You're going to have to sustain some drives, too. I know the big play's great, but, boy, it would be great to see, 10 plays, 70 yards for a touchdown, 12 plays, 75 yards for a touchdown. And you just haven't seen that on a consistent basis this year.
Yeah, you have to make sure, clean up the penalties. Yeah, this offense can't absorb penalties, can't overcome them. It seems like if you have a penalty, that ends that drive. You have, your pass protection isn't perfect yet. You're still, vulnerable to, a big play defensive end, squeezing through there. They're better in the run game, but they just don't give Franks quite enough protection, and he holds the ball a little bit, and that's an issue, and that will be something that the NFL guys really grade him hard on when he makes his decision to come out. But they've just got to do a little better job in protection, and I think it's when it's an obvious passing down, they have trouble. When they can stay ahead of the sticks and they can throw their play action stuff, that's a different deal when the defense is not set to rush. But yeah, the third down conversions, and of course that comes down to a lot of times first and second down. You make positive yardage on those 2 downs and don't miss a block or miss a read. Then the offense is going to flow a little better. And we've seen it go in great spurts. There were a couple of quarters against Auburn that they had it going on. There was a quarter against Tennessee, and then there was, it seemed like the third quarter they did all right against Florida, but they're not consistent yet, and I think that comes down to just still not quite having enough horses in the offensive line. That's what I see. The offenses that are giving Arkansas's defense trouble, they have great offensive line play. Arkansas has improved, and it's a positive direction that they're going, but they're not great in the offensive line.
So now you're going to have an opportunity for either Tyson Morris or Trey Knox to step up with Davion Warren's injury. It's interesting because the last 2 games, the first play from scrimmage has been the sideline pass to Davion Warren to try to see if there's some room for him. They've been looking to get him the ball with some room. And with Knox and Morris, I think you were expecting a little bit more this year. Obviously, Davion passed him up, but between the two of them, they've combined for a total of 9 catches. Both of them have talent, and certainly we saw a lot of talent from Trey Knox last year. And, these next 3 games are really, really important for both of them moving forward.
Yeah, what I've seen, and you're right, in that play to Warren, what I've seen is they're much better blocking their wide receivers, particularly Mike Woods and Treylon Burks. That's what they're getting. They're getting one-on-one situations out there, and maybe there's a safety over the top and they've got 2 or 3 against 2 corners. and they're throwing it to the third guy, and they're blocking the other two, and Warren's, sliding through there, and, it can be another guy too. Morse has that capability, the quickness and the ability to hit a little seam like that. But his loss is impactful. There's no doubt about it. But what I'm interested to watch this week is, do they have Kern and do they have Henry? Do they have both of those tight ends? Because they've been a part of the offense too, more so of late. And I never would have guessed that Blake Kern would have produced the number of plays, blocks, everything. It was his block that Traylon Smith cut back. He pulled into the middle, sealed the linebacker, and Traylon was off to the races. And then he kind of was gimpy later in the game, and, of course, Hudson wasn't able to play. They need those two guys. And that, Nathan Bax would be the third tight end, and I don't see him able to do the things that those two can do. At least he hasn't shown that yet.
Clay, how do you see this game playing out on Saturday? We don't have to worry about predictions right now, but do you see the Hogs coming away with a W here, or what do you see this game on Saturday?
I think both teams can score. So, LSU's got some offensive weapons, and, they make mistakes, and that's what you have to, if you're Arkansas, you hope that they make enough mistakes to give you a little wiggle room. Maybe, you get some defensive scores. That's what they've been vulnerable to. And Arkansas, I think they're going to be shorthanded defensively from what I can tell as far as COVID. And so that's going to help LSU. But I think it might be a 31-24 game. I think Arkansas is going to win. That's my vibes, but I don't think this is a walkover for either team. I think it's going to be a competitive game.
I agree completely. You got to be ready and locked and loaded and ready to go if you're the Razorbacks. Real quick before we let you go, Mason Jones and Isaiah Joe got the NBA draft tonight. I know we don't talk a lot of necessarily NBA with you here recently. Obviously, it's been football season, but do you see either of these guys, both of them, one of them, making NBA rosters tonight?
Well, I tell you that's a tough thing to handicap.
Yeah.
If I was an NBA team, I would want a player like that. I mean, I think that both of them have great potential. And when I say that, Mason seems like he just gets better and better. And at the combine, how can you not think he's going to continue to improve? Because it's happened. And Isaiah has, the ability to shoot from so deep. It seems like it's of great importance in that the way they're playing NBA games now. So yeah, I've got a lot of hope in. I think they'll make rosters. I mean, they're even if they don't get drafted, I think they've got a good bright future in the NBA.
Clay, I don't know if you and I have gotten into this very much, but Baseball Hall of Fame came out with the finalists a couple of days ago. At least the ballot. Finalist isn't the right term to use. A couple of months, you'll have it out. This is the 9th year. Schilling, Clemens, and Bonds are on the list. And I want to get into this with you over the next few weeks to get your opinions on this. Can you answer me this question? If Gaylord Perry, a noted cheater, is in the Hall of Fame, if Gaylord Perry is in the Hall of Fame, Mr. Spitball, and Whitey Ford, who was known to cheat openly with the way that the baseball would get cut, why can Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens not be in Cooperstown too?
Well, you're talking about two different things. You're talking about performance-enhancing drugs that is a no. We all realize that. And then we're talking about gamemanship. I think they're two different things, Phil. I think
different kinds of cheating.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it's like, okay, this guy stands in the back of the batter's box. He's out of the batter's box. Well, he's breaking the rules. Well, this guy's loading up the baseball. It's breaking the rules. But it's just kind of gamemanship. And it was wink, wink, wink. Yeah, okay, we know he's doing it, but we're going to try to hit it. And then if it gets to be where, I don't know. But like you say, there are guys that Ward had razor blades in their gloves so they could cut the baseball and and throw that slider. I mean, it's just So I think it's two different things. I prefer to at least believe that one's gamemanship and one is just horrible way to try to gain advantage is taking drugs.
Okay. Well, this is definitely. I want to get into some of this stuff with you before the writers get their votes in and everything because.
And I want to talk about Torrey Hunter and some other things.
Absolutely.